Our genetics is not our destiny, but it's certainly part of our story. As the saying goes, genetics loads the gun and our environment pulls the trigger. So how we respond to our environment, including food and exercise, is influenced by what's in our genes. I'm Jules Walters, a health coach for women over 50, helping you to become the CEO of your health. Yes, you got it, the Chief Executive Officer, the one who's in charge, the one who owns it. I've spent decades in healthcare as an entrepreneur and a CEO, and what I've learned is that many of the answers to a long and healthy life are up to us. Like you, I'm over 50, and I'm a big believer in the power of women to adapt. Let's face it, we've done it before. It's absolutely within your power to become CEO of your health. You are the expert on you. As a health coach, I've seen many women make the journey from being frankly fed up and frustrated to being empowered and encouraged. They've done it by making small tweaks to their habits that together made all the difference. Things like movement and nutrition. I call them Nano Health Habits, and I've written a book about it, predictably called Nano Health Habits. And these are small steps which, built one on top of the other, can transform our health. That's what this podcast, The Health Refresh, is all about. If you're a busy woman who wants the best for herself and her family and is not prepared to accept that what you have now is as good as it gets, then you're in the right place. Welcome, my friend. Welcome to the Health Refresh team. Today, I'm going to share with you how one piece of data transformed my health. And it fits into the 4 pillars of health that I talked about last week. And as a quick reminder, those pillars or guiding principles that I've found useful are: number 1, mindset, understanding that we are the CEO of our health, as we're the only ones who can make the daily lifestyle tweaks to stay healthy. Number 2 is an inside-out approach. First, so happy cells, happy body. Number 3 is step-by-step. So small changes in our habits that add up to a big difference. And number 4, guided by data. Today I'll share a personal story of how one piece of data resulted in me losing over 20 pounds or 10 kilos in weight. That's a lot. It was about 10% of my total weight. And all I did was change what I ate, or more specifically, what I didn't eat. It was what I left out that made all the difference. The pounds disappeared effortlessly, and I do mean effortlessly. Each week I got on the scales, and there was less of me than there was the previous week. So what did I do? Well, thanks to a background in genetics, part of the data I'm interested in is what's in our DNA, our blueprint of life. Through my work, I came across a company called 3x4 Genetics. It was founded by a woman who's an expert in nutrigenomics, and that's the interplay between our genes and food, and a behavioral scientist. And the company's mission is to help people personalize their health decisions using genetic testing. So I took one of their tests by spitting into a tube and putting my DNA in the mail to their lab. Simple as that. And a few weeks later, the results came back on about 150 genes that affect my metabolism. Through the test, I learned that one of my genes is coded so that whenever I eat gluten, my body treats it like a low-level toxin. I don't have celiac disease, which is a more severe response to gluten, but 95% of people with celiac match my profile with this particular gene. So that was a surprise. I've been eating gluten all my life and not been sick as a result, as far as I know. But I was carrying extra weight that had been hard to shift, and my digestive tract was probably not happy. Research shows that about 6% of us respond to gluten and not in a good way. And that gluten intolerance is more common in women than in men. It's not clear why we lose weight by giving up gluten. It could be that we make healthier food choices and cut down on carbohydrates like bread, or we certainly start to read food labels more closely. 3x4 Genetics is not the only company that offers genetic testing, but it is one of the few that focuses on our metabolism and gives us actionable insights as a result. The test lets you know how your metabolism is coded in your blueprint for life, your DNA, how you're different from everyone else, and how to work with your trillions of cells in a way that's right for you. You may have heard of other genetic testing companies like 23andMe and Ancestry that focus more on our family tree and heritage. Anyway, as a result of my test, I decided to stop eating gluten. It was a pretty easy decision, given that I want to live a long and healthy life. And there are so many gluten-free options these days. There's even gluten-free pizza made from cauliflower. Gluten is mainly found in wheat. So now I eat a different kind of bread. Bread with ingredients like rice flour and almond flour. And to be honest, I can't tell the difference from the bread I used to eat. It just means I need to find a different aisle in the grocery store and not eat the bread offered at a restaurant if I'm eating out. And overall, I do eat less bread than before I gave up gluten. So just to back up a little and give you some context to our genetics, we have about 20,000 genes in total, and they tell our body what proteins to make. And these proteins do most of the work in our body, from building muscle, fighting germs, to wiring our metabolism. And 20 years ago, when I first studied molecular genetics, science was very focused on genes that cause disease like sickle cell and cystic fibrosis. You had the gene, you got the disease. But now science has widened to look at genes that are what we would call low-penetrant genes. They influence our health, but they don't necessarily determine what happens next. So genetics is not our destiny, but it's certainly part of our story. And each story is different. You have your own blueprint that's different from everyone else, unless you're an identical twin. And we have influence on what happens next. As the saying goes, genetics loads the gun and our environment pulls the trigger. And for me, the environment was gluten. That pulled the trigger when I ate gluten. For the first time in the history of humankind, we can access this extraordinary revealing data by sampling the DNA just in our saliva. So not even a needle is needed. There's no blood draw, it's just literally spitting into a tube. You send the sample off to a specialist lab and you get the results back through a secure email. As well as your body's response to gluten, these genetic tests will reveal things like how your body stores fat, how you respond to exercise, to coffee, to breaking down drugs, how you detoxify, and will deliver insights into your bone health as well. Then you can put a plan in place to work with the way your body is wired. In the next month, I'll be launching a brand new coaching program to help you access this data so you can get hold of your personal health blueprint and understand how to make tweaks to your lifestyle so you can work with your body. I believe this data, like it has for me, will help you to become active and not passive when it comes to your health. I trained as a health coach through the Institute for Integrative Nutrition in New York. And through that experience, I learned how many of us can get stuck on our health journey and maybe even give up. Maybe we've tried things in the past that worked for a little while and then didn't. Well, I believe being able to access this kind of data will encourage and empower you to become the CEO of your health. And my program will help to explain what the data means and what lifestyle changes you might consider. And I'll be giving more details on the program in the next month, which I'm really excited about. It will help you to step into becoming the strong, powerful, and resourceful woman that you are. In the meantime, I've created a guide to help you take 4 simple steps to tackle midlife weight. And this midlife weight is normal. It happens to most of us thanks to changes in our hormones. Anyway, the resource is at juleswalters.com/tackle. That's juleswalters.com/tackle. It's a free resource, and I hope you find it useful. Before we go, I do need to make clear, if I haven't already, that I am not a doctor. I'm a health coach, and my lane is lifestyle and how it affects our health. If you have a medical condition or suspect that you might be developing one, then a doctor is the right person to see. Okay, that's the legal bit done. Next week, we'll be talking about protein. What's the right amount for women over 50? What's too much and what's too little? So see you right here next week, same time, same place.